Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video, I've got a bunch of great news for you. Sony's got a brand new controller. We're also talking about PS2 and 3DS emulation, some retro gaming handhelds, and Mario 64 on Unreal Engine. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here with some pretty big news. Today, Sony unveiled a brand new PS5 controller called the Dualsense Edge. It's wireless, it's ultra customizable, and it's got a bunch of buttons. So here's a front view of the Dualsense Edge, and it looks like the controller overall is a little bit rounder than the Dualsense. I don't want to say it's like a boomerang, but it looks like the curvature here on the outer edges and on the bottom is a little bit more pronounced than the Dualsense, but time will tell. And it also has a few extra goodies on the bottom of the controller. And here's a better look at the back of the Dualsense Edge, where I'd say the changes are a lot more apparent. We've got switches on either side, we've got back paddle buttons, and they weren't joking at all when they said ultra customizable. The joysticks are completely removable. It's got adjustable triggers, changeable back buttons, multiple profiles, and it also has a USB-C cable lock, so it's not going to pull out if you've got it plugged in. At this point in time, we don't have a release date or a price, but I'd have to guess that this would be priced similar to an Xbox Elite controller. I could be wrong though. Let me know your thoughts about this controller in the comments below. Are you interested in it? Are you not interested in it? And what are your thoughts on the features? Next up here, we're talking about PS2 emulation on Xbox with XBSX2. Yes, this is real. Yes, this can be done in retail mode for now. So Bulmer Games here has a video of XBSX2 up and running on an Xbox, and I'll drop a link to that video in the description below. To get it up and running, basically they had to use the Edge browser and navigate to a specific link to install it from the Microsoft Store page. To be quite honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about XBSX2, and I can't recommend using the emulator until I find out more information about it. I don't know if it's open source, but I do know that it is free. And speaking about free, next up here we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation on Android with Citra. Just not the version of Citra that's on the Google Play Store. We're talking about Citra MMJ, where MMJ stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano. And this version of Citra is geared towards performance as opposed to emulation accuracy. Although I have said that pretty much every single time I've talked about Citra MMJ. Anyways, here, this piece of news is interesting. This person here got emulation inside of emulation up and running. mGBA is successfully running inside of Citra MMJ. Is this the best way to play GBA on Android? No. Is this practical? No. Is this cool? Yes. And speaking about cool, next up here, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Skyline. Testers have got their teeth into version 13.18, and we've got some very impressive results. Someone has Ninja Gaiden up and running at close to 60 frames a second and looking really good. Someone has Bug Fables up and running at over 200 frames a second. Absolutely absurd. Someone's got SteamWorld Heist up and running at 60 frames a second. And someone took the time to do a comparison of Tales of the Borderlands up and running in Skyline and EggNS. And if you take a look at the two versions here, Skyline is a heck of a lot smoother and also looks a little bit different. While neither games can render characters just yet, Skyline's overall gameplay and panning is a heck of a lot smoother. And speaking about smooth, next up here we've got a quick update for ArkOS. ArkOS stands for I won't say it. It stands for Another Rock Chip Operating System, or Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, depending on how you want to interpret that. Anyways, ArkOS has a new version. Version 2.0 of ArkOS is pretty big, and it's for the RG351MP, RG351V, the Gameforce Qi RGB10, RK2020, and OGA. In this one, they've added in the DuckStation standalone emulator, which gets a big thumbs up. They've added in the Gliden64 video plugin from Mupen64 Plus. They've added in support for CHD files for the Amiga CD32. On top of that, they've updated Yavish and Shiro, which is Sega Saturn, with a low-res patch, which should help out performance. And there are a few more additions to Mupen64 Plus. Next up here, we're talking about the Powkiddy RGB10. In yesterday's video, we talked about one exploding due to the battery. And in today's video, I don't want to say it didn't explode, but it is being disputed pretty heavily. Now, there has been a ton of investigation done on that Reddit post. Some people are saying it's real, some people are saying it's fake. nothing definitive as of yet. Victor here seems to be very convinced it's fake. I can completely understand why Powkiddy would be on the defensive after news of that broke. I mean, it's not often you hear about these handhelds going up in flames. After taking a closer look at the images, there are some things that don't necessarily add up, so I would say take the exploding bit with a grain of salt, but don't take the lithium-ion battery swelling with a grain of salt, because that is real. Here's an example. This is a good laptop battery on the left. This is a bad laptop battery on the right, completely swollen. And here's a foam battery that is swollen. These things do swell up. So if you do have lithium-ion batteries sitting around in devices, if you can remove them, take them out and set them aside. If you can't remove them, just keep an eye on your device in a year or two, because who knows when it might swell. And this can happen on any single device out there. So just be careful. Last up here, this is a fun one. Someone's got a progress update for Super Mario 64 running in Unreal Engine, called Unreal Engine 64. I will drop a link to the video in the description below, so feel free to check that one out. Anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below, and we did talk about quite a bit. What are your thoughts on that new Sony controller? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.